Carlos, what have you been seeing out of Helsley these last few, especially with his fastball getting hit the way it's been?
Yeah, so the fastball's been getting hit, and it's a plus fastball, right? But I think he's leaving that slider in the middle of the strike zone. That's kind of like the big difference for me. You see that pitch today to Harris, that slider, and I mean they're gonna get ready for 100, and then when that slider staying right there in the middle of the zone, good hitters are gonna make him pay for it. So we just got to get him to, continue to finish those pitches, especially the breaking ball, the slider in this case. So that way, the fastball, when he throws it, is he can use it effectively, right? But this guy's elite, man, and we just got to get him back on track.
When you decide to make the switch, take Senga out, was it in part because of what Albies had done to him previously, or was it just you felt at that moment that
at that moment, 93 pitches, I think it was. I got a pretty good arm ready to go there too. Just couldn't get the last one there. But I thought Senga overall was really good.
Bill?
What made Bryce Elder so good today?
Yeah, the four seam, it's usually a sinker slider guy, but he was throwing some four seam to our lefties that has some cut to it. And then they had a hard time picking the slider up too, because of the cut. So he was using all of his pitches. He mixed well and kind of got us tonight.
How concerned are you about your team, because you're a half game ahead of the Reds, and you had a chance to gain against the Phillies and they lost? How concerned are you about your team?
I mean, obviously, we're not playing well, but too much talent. We're going through a very tough time right now, but there's a lot of good players there, and we just gotta get through this. We can't be looking at the standing. We're not where we at. We haven't played well, but we're still pretty much right in the thick of things. So we got to find a way.
Manny?
You mentioned Senga was good today, but what made him so effective out there today?
Yeah, the way he used all of his pitches in the strike zone. He competed with pretty much everything. The cutter was good. The split, the forkball, he used it to get strikes, to get chase. The fastball at the top, 95 when he needed to. I thought every pitch, but again, it was in the strike zone. I think only one walk, and that's pretty much the one that ended up scoring in that sixth inning. But when he's going really good, is because of he's competing in the strike zone.
Earlier in the season, it seemed like you guys were just finding ways to win games, like you very scrappy, just figuring it out. Lately, it's kind of been the opposite. I think you've lost 13 out of the last 15. Have you seen any common threads? Is there anything that you've noticed that maybe is lacking with the team, or?
I wouldn't say lacking. We just haven't been able to put everything together, Whenever we're getting the offense, we're not getting starting pitching. Today we got starting pitching. We got some timely hitting, even though we didn't create much traffic, but then we couldn't close it out. So when you're going through stretches like this, that's because you can start being, pointing fingers here. But I think it's just overall, we haven't been able to put it together consistently.
Will?
Hey, Carlos, what did you see on the route that Mullins took on that ball, I think, that Harris hit?
On which one?
The double that Harris hit. What do you think of the route that Mullins took there?
Yeah, no, off the bat, I don't think he had a chance. Especially, I think we were playing him poolside, too. So I had no issues with the route there.
Peter?
What are you seeing from Francisco Lindor right now? He's had a couple good games in a row and really good one today.
Yeah, I mean, we seen it when he's at his best. Kind of what we saw tonight, pull side with authority, then he stays short and hits a line drive the other way. The takes, he's walking. So that's a very positive right there that Lindor showing signs now. It's going to be important for us.
Has he made any adjustments the last few days as he's kind of heated up?
He's always making adjustments, This is a guy that works as hard as anybody, and every day he's out there hitting early and he's in the cages. So they're always tinkering with their swing. So I think he's getting the feel for it.
Dave?
Carlos, how
tough has it been just with the leads that you guys have been giving up lately? I know you mentioned, you guys haven't been playing particularly well, but just kind of the way, and especially today, like you said, you got the starting pitching today and got it to your high leverage guys, and they still couldn't hold on to it. Is that tough to? I mean, that has to be demoralizing to kind of go through that type of.
Yeah, but at the same time, they're too good of a players. Like part of our strength as a team is our bullpen. And sooner rather than later, those guys will turn it around. Because like I said, you're talking about Hazley, you're talking about Diaz, you're talking about Rogers, Rayleigh, Soto. And then we just haven't been able to put it together. But again, the talent's there, and we will figure it out.
Joe?
What did you see from the bottom half of the lineup in particular? I think spots 5 through 9 went a combined 0 for 16 tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's a game, but Beatty walked. I think you got to give Elder credit, because the bottom of our lineup, they've been contributing, so it's not going to happen every night, obviously. And tonight was one of those. But yeah, I wouldn't put too much into that.